The movie begins in Stillwater, Oklahoma, where Bill Baker is doing the construction work. Bill used to be an oil rig worker who has been laid off recently. The next morning, he stops by the home of his former mother-in-law, Sharon, who is sick and has an oxygen tank. They have breakfast together, and Sharon tells him she packed a few things to take to his daughter, who he is set to visit. He goes to his daughter's room and gets some of her photos to take to her. He goes to the airport and sees a gold Stillwater necklace in the gift shop. Bill travels to Marseille, France, and checks into a hotel where the staff all know him, and he is clearly a returning guest. Bill puts together a care package and goes to the prison to make a visit, and the logbook shows him making multiple visits to the place. He waits and is finally allowed to meet his daughter, Allison, who has been convicted of murder. Allison went abroad for college, and when her girlfriend Lina was found murdered, Allison was charged in a case, but Allison has maintained her innocence and so has Bill. Allison said Lina had been with another person named Akeem that night. Allison gives Bill a letter to give to her lawyer and tells him it's extremely important. She makes him promise to deliver it, and he swears he will. He goes to see the lawyer, but she is unavailable. At the hotel, Bill notices a young child named Maya, sitting outside the door of the room next to his and realizes she is locked out, so he brings her to the front desk to help her get another key for her room. Later, he meets with Allison's lawyer, Mrs. Leparc, who reads the letter, which is written in French. She tells Bill that Allison has exhausted all of her legal options and he should not give her false hope, and she says Allison must accept her sentence. Maya's mother, Virginie, comes over to thank Bill for helping her daughter. Bill notices she speaks English. She tells Bill if there's anything she can do for him to let her know, and he asks her to translate Allison's letter. She reads the letter, realizing while reading it exactly who Bill and Allison are, and Allison is trying to tell Leparc that one of Allison's professors, Dr. Patrick Ocanedo, let her know that a student in his outreach program had met a guy named Akeem, who told the student that he stabbed a girl years ago and got away with it. Allison thinks he is the guy who killed Lina, and asks Leparc to please investigate this lead since Bill surely can't be trusted to handle anything. Allison pleads not to leave her in that horrible place, as she has lost 5 years of her life and still has 4 to go. Bill returns to Leparc's office to ask for help, but her assistant informs that Leparc cannot pursue the case anymore. They offer Bill information for private investigators and Bill becomes angry and leaves. Bill meets with Allison, who is eager to know what Leparc had to say. Unable to break her heart, he says that Leparc is investigating, and Allison is overjoyed. Bill goes to see other attorneys, some of who barely speak English. He finally meets with a private detective named DeRosa, a former law enforcement. He reads the letter, and explains to Bill how difficult this will be to find the young man if he hasn't already fled, and get a DNA sample and then match it to the unknown DNA left at the crime scene. He has contacts at the police that can test it, but explains it will be extremely expensive and gives Bill a number. Bill scoffs and leaves. At the hotel, Bill gets help from a staff member to look up the Professor Ocanedo's information. The next morning, he goes to the university and meets with him. The professor gives Bill the contact information of the girl who had the lead on Akeem, but says that the girl does not speak any English. Bill asks the professor to translate for him, but he says he cannot be involved, even though he believes Allison could be innocent, and wishes him good luck. Bill gets Virginie and Maya's address from the hotel staff and buys a toy that he brings to give to Maya. He updates Virginie on the situation, and she agrees to contact the girl for him. After talking to that girl, she lets him know that girl is willing to meet him the next day. Virginie offers to go with Bill to meet with the girl to translate for him. On the way, Virginie tells him Allison's case was a big story at that time. They learn more about each other, and Bill tells Virginie that Allison's mother committed suicide and that she lived with her grandmother growing up because Bill was off working on oil rigs. Virginie tells him she is a theater actress. When they meet with the girl, she has brought a friend, who aggressively tells her not to snitch until she clams up and refuses to talk. Bill tries to press her, but Virginie dissuades him as the situation becomes heated. Virginie points out to Bill the housing community that Akeem lives in, but says it would be dangerous to go there because they are not from that community. She asks what if there is no Akeem, as he was never found during the investigation. Bill gets enraged and tells her the press was against them. She asks Bill about punching the reporter, and he admits he had a serious substance abuse problem. Later, Allison tells Bill that during a meeting with the judge about her potential parole one day a month, she saw someone from Leparc's office, who wasn't sure about the investigation she was referring to. Bill says he will handle it. Virginie and her friend Nejma comb through the social media of the girl, who heard Akeem's confession, and prints them out since Akeem could be in the photos. She tells Bill to take them to Allison to have her pick him out, but he refuses as he doesn't want to reveal to Allison that Leparc isn't working on the case. Nejma asks if anyone else knows how Hakim looks like. Bill remembers the owner of the bar had seen him, and so Virginie and Bill go to meet with him. When Virginie shows him those pictures, mostly Middle Eastern immigrants, he says he will lie and say it's any one of them because they are all guilty of something. Horrified by his racism, Virginie leaves. They both get into a fight, with her not understanding how he isn't upset by that and him saying his job is to get his daughter out of prison. Virginie tells him she's done helping him and leaves angrily. That evening Sharon calls Bill wondering how much Leparc is going to cost now, as Allison informed they hired her again. Bill's answers make no sense, so she says she's going to call Leparc as Bill pleads with her not to. Running out of time, Bill goes to the prison and meets with Allison, who is confused and angry about what is really going on. He just tells her she needs to look at the photos to see if she can find Hakim. Eventually, she does identify him. Bill takes the photos and goes to Hakim's community himself, asking around and showing Hakim's picture, but no one helps him. Eventually, a group of young men begins teasing Bill, and it becomes violent, and eventually the group begins beating Bill up. Hakim eventually arrives, and one of the young men shows him the picture and that Bill was looking for him. Virginie goes to the hospital to see Bill, who was recovering and said he gave the only contact he had. He goes to see Allison and confesses the truth, that Leparc wouldn't help so he was doing it himself, and it worked as he found Hakim. Allison was angry, and asks him why he didn't take the picture and go to the police, as she thinks Hakim is gone now. She can't believe she let him mess up again, and tells him she doesn't want to talk to him anymore or see him anymore. 4 months later, Bill is still in France, working construction. He lives with Virginie and pays rent. He picks Maya up from school and spends lots of time with her. She assists him in the basement as he makes repairs and fixes. Meanwhile, Leparc contacts Bill and tells him Allison has been approved to go out on parole 1 day a month. With no one else to put her in the care of, Bill signs the paperwork vouching to supervise her. He asks Virginie if Allison comes by to her house, and she agrees. On parole day, Bill picks Allison up in his construction truck. He takes her to buy flowers, and then to Lina's grave, where Allison lays them. They go to a quiet place by the water, and Allison tells Bill about how she loved Lina, but once she let her move in with her, Lina started seeing other people and she felt so used, but she just wishes she could see her again right now. They go to the apartment where Virginie makes dinner for them. Later, Bill and Maya play while Allison sits and talks with Virginie. She says Bill seems happy, but then she later warns Virginie to be careful, telling her a story of when Bill let all her mother's belongings get thrown away because he didn't pay the bill at the storage unit. She says he's an addict, just like she is. When Bill returns Allison to the prison, she hugs him and tells him she's happy for him. Bill gets a call later that night, and he rushes to the hospital. Allison tried to commit suicide by hanging. When he returns home, Virginie comforts him, and the next day Maya sees they had fallen asleep in the same bed. Allison was sent back prison after her recovery, and Bill starts to meet her regularly and prays for her. Bill returns to the rhythms of life, spending a lot of time with Maya and even going to one of Virginie's plays. Afterward, they have dinner, and they both admit they might like to take their relationship to a new level. They sleep together, and the next day Maya notices them being romantic together. Bill surprises Maya with tickets to a football match, which she loves. They have a great time at the game, but to his shock, Bill spots Hakim in the crowd. He follows him from the game to a restaurant, Maya with him the whole time. Once she falls asleep, he follows him closely and kidnaps Hakim, and secretly locks him in the basement. He brings in DeRosa, and hands him some of Hakim's hair to do the DNA test. DeRosa is worried, telling Bill if he's done anything illegal it will only send him to jail and not free his daughter, but Bill simply hands him money and tells him to get it done. Maya confesses to Bill that she knows about the man in the basement, and Bill tells her he is a very bad man and asks her to keep it a secret. The DNA results don't come back for days, and Bill becomes stressed having to keep Hakim in the basement longer than he thought. Hakim pleads with him to let him go, and that he was only doing what Allison wanted him to do. He says that Allison paid him with a gold necklace to put Lina out of her place, and Bill doesn't believe a word he's saying. Finally, he says that the necklace said Stillwater. This shakes Bill, but he duct tapes Hakim's mouth shut and leaves. Bill calls Sharon to ask if the Stillwater necklace he got for Allison was with her during the trial, but Sharon has no idea what he's talking about. The next day, Virginie sees DeRosa skulking around outside the apartment. She goes down and he claims to be a building inspector and asks if there has been any noise or smells coming from the basement. She says no and says if he gives her a card she can call him back, but he declines. After he has left, She stares at the basement door. Bill picks Maya up from school and she asks him if he's going to kill the bad man. He is horrified, telling her he would never do something that would hurt her or her mother. When they get back to the apartment, they are immediately surrounded by police, who take Maya away, and force Bill to unlock the basement. They go down, and Bill expects to be caught, but no one is there. Up in the apartment, the police sit down with Bill, Virginie, and Maya. The lead investigator asks Maya when the last time she went to the basement was, and Maya lies and says yesterday. He warns her not to lie and threatens to take Bill to jail, but Maya again says yesterday, and the police leave. Virginie found Hakim and let him go, and demands the truth from Bill. He admits what happened, and when he explains that he saw Hakim at the game and he was with Maya. He tells her he never wanted to involve them, and Virginie tells him he needs to go immediately. He goes to say goodbye to Maya, but she won't speak to him. He packs his bags and begins to go, but Virginie brings Maya out and tells her to say goodbye to Bill. They hug each other goodbye and cry. Bill returns to the hotel, and Leparc calls him in for a meeting. She says a new DNA evidence was found matching the crime scene evidence and also matched another burglary. She explains this is very good for Allison, and investigation has reopened. Allison is released and they return to Stillwater, where the town holds a celebration for her exoneration and return. After the party, Bill asks Allison if she remembers the necklace he got her at the airport. She cries and admits the truth. She did give it to Hakim, but she just wanted him to get Lina out of her apartment. She never thought it would happen the way it happened. She cries and asks if he thinks she is a monster, and he tells her he could never, as she's his daughter. Later, they sit on the porch, and Allison says she can't believe how everything looks exactly the same, but Bill admits everything looks different to him, almost to the point of him not recognizing it anymore. Thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications to watch more videos like this.